would you be so kind and introduce yourself?
I'm Laura Koivusalo, or Dr. Laura Koivusalo. I'm the CEO and co-founder of StemSight. We are an early stage spin-out from Tampere University, located in Finland. And I did my PhD work with Professor Heli Scottman, who is our CTO, and where the technology comes from originally in her lab. So we started the company when I was actually on maternity leave. So the company is just 2 months older than my son. So it was a wild ride back then when we started the company. So StemSight is actually founded by four women scientists from the same research group, and then a lawyer who was actually the tech transfer lawyer in the university at the time. And then later he joined KPMG and now leads their offices here in Tampere.
Amazing. Can you briefly describe your startup and the problem it aims to solve?
So StemSight aims to cure corneal blindness using stem cells. And so we use induced pluripotent stem cells, which are basically these kind of cells that could be taken from you or me or anybody healthy from the skin or blood, and then reprogrammed into a state where they can make any type of tissue in the body. So we use the cells from one healthy donor to make a big bank of cells, which we can then use to produce off-the-shelf tissue products for patients who have lost cells in their corneas and are blinded by that. Yeah. So first product is actually aimed for a rare disease called limbal stem cell deficiency. So that is a severe and painful form of corneal blindness that can't be treated with any existing technologies available right now. So they are patients who have had, for example, burns or chemical injuries to the surface of the eye, like acid burns or fireworks accidents, for example, or there are various different causes. But basically, in this condition, the corneal epithelium can no longer heal itself, and that causes blood vessels and the surrounding tissue to cover the cornea. And that's why these patients can't get a donor cornea, for example, because that would get clouded over very rapidly because it can't heal itself anymore. So that's our first sort of aim, and those patients we are trying to treat.
Okay, wow, that's very impressive, I must say. So, can you tell me a bit more about the latest updates?
Yeah, so of course, there's a lot has happened in the past year or so. So we actually received a significant funding from our local government funding agency, Business Finland, during the summer. And actually, that funding allowed us to hire a cell therapy commercialization expert to the team. And we actually found an awesome guy called Ross McDonald who used to be the CEO of Sonata Therapeutics in Australia. So they were the first company to actually get through clinical trials with an iPSC-derived product. So it's amazing that he now joined the team, and we got him to visit us in the cold Tampere area, and we took him to sauna and dipped him into the lake. So he had a full Finnish immersion to the company culture. So he's a great fit to the team.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That's very grand. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
getting milestones, yeah. So, what motivated you to participate in the New Nordics pitch competition, and how would you say the experience impacted your company's growth and visibility?
Yeah, so definitely, I had actually heard of Silicon Vikings before. I knew what the group was about because during COVID, when we were still learning the startup scene, Silicon Vikings actually provided this sort of mentoring, online mentoring for startups and startups to be. So we participated in that. And that already sort of gave me the idea that these people who have a passion in their hearts to sort of bridge the Silicon Valley ecosystem and the Nordics together. So when I noticed that they launched their own pitching competition, I of course wanted to apply to sort of get also included into that culture.
Okay, that sounds very good. Makes sense. So, can you share some highlights or memorable moments from your pitch or interactions during the competition?
Yeah, definitely. So I remember going to Helsinki, and because it was, of course, the Silicon Vikings pitching competition, and I traveled from Tampere to Helsinki for the finals, and I had really put an effort on my outfit. I wanted to be fierce, and I was wearing this sort of a very Viking type, modern Viking type clothes, like a jacket and like a well leather pants and then like this jean shirt, and like my hair was all like a mohawk, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and fight it out." And I remember the sort of energy I had when I went on stage, and there was a big crowd there, and it was a really energizing moment there.
That is so great to hear. What valuable lessons did you gain from the pitch competition, but also the workshops?
Yeah, definitely. The workshops have been great, and actually I remember uh, uh, the best, which where we had a pitch coach who was really sort of uh, I think he's a writer for TechCrunch, so he had seen a ton of pitches and decks, and gave really hands-on advice, and it was actually, compared to most webinars and these kind of trainings where I've been to, it was so close knit community, so very small gathering, and you could actually ask questions and interact very deeply with the people who are giving the workshop. So I think it was great.
Okay, that's great to hear. Have you considered to maybe next year also be a mentor yourself?
I hadn't considered, but of course I'd love to be included in that too.
And looking back, what advice would you give the future participants in the new Nordics pitch competition to maximize their experience and chance of success?
I definitely say, because it's of course like there are companies from so many different areas of industries, so it really needs to the pitch really needs to come across really clearly, depend like independent of who what the background of the audience. So I think that is something that the pitchers should really consider, and try to uh, rehearse with neighbors and like grandmas and all those kind of relatives that don't really know anything about your industry, and try to get your message across, because it's really a short time that you actually get, and then to give a full story convincingly, it's
I'm a bit curious. How long time did it take for you to do the pitch and practicing it?
well, of course, I had something already, sort of an outline from previous pitches that I've done. So I've actually started my pitching career in 2019, before we established the company. Uh, and I actually won the two first pitching competitions that I ever did. So, so I had something in the back pocket already. But of course, it has evolved during the years as well. So it can be constantly be made better, and of course, as the company evolves, so of course the business evolves, and you have to tell the story in a little bit different way. And if the environment changes, sort of what's more on, like what's a hot topic, and if you can address those things, then you instantly bring that to people's attention better. But I do always rehearse my pitches, like word to word, so that it's actually, I know that I can hit the real minute marks that need to be hit within the time frame.
Yeah, that's very good. Okay, so rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing is very important.
Yes.
So especially also with the timing. Okay, that's very nice to know. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Well, I think, just boldly getting yourself out there and daring to be different, because it's in this industry, everybody has to be unique, and that's the sort of strength, and you need to build on that. So that's
Yeah.
also what we try to do with the company. So we're actually pretty alone in our own niche area, but I think that's great, so that you can, if you, even though your area is quite niche, if you can capture that in entirety, that's of course very powerful.
That was actually it. And I want to thank you so much for your time and valuable insights.
Thank you so much.